February 25th, 9:47 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. This is it, Rich. With this final trial day, we will prove Lana Skye's innocence and defame Damon Gant to woot. I don't know what happened with that accent there, but I'm just going with it.
It's fine. It's having to deal with all of the variety of accents you've had to do throughout this particular trial.
Right. Speaking of, Edgeworth, knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet.
Yes, and we are going to be coming for him with everything we've got.
Indeed. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her.
Mm-hmm.
The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. Edgeworth, you have a very short memory, mate.
I know, because practically, barring one, I think every case in this game has a reference back to an earlier case or an earlier incident that has massive ramifications for what is occurring.
Yeah, well,
right now.
Especially the case that featured him.
Yes, especially the case that featured him.
February 25th, 10 AM, District Court, Courtroom, number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gann. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, OG. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what?
Yes.
Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble.
And how much of this is under duress, hey?
Really, yeah. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana!
Yeah, especially because it's just like, you confessed to stabbing him, sure, but you did not murder him.
No, it's impossible. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening.
Unfortunately, it is.
It appears the time for a verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Those flashes are so much faster here than they would ever be in future games.
I know, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? No. Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Well, this is interesting.
Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
It's not exactly great having one tragedy replace another tragedy. It's just like, let's just have the actual tragedy sorted, and then we can go from there.
One must take their medicine if one wishes to get better. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, technically it would be student, but whatever. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark Killings, TM. Is this correct? Well, it's not trademarked, but yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is.
Well, yeah, because considering Goodman was entirely related to that case, and seems to have been murdered on the day of the evidence transferal of that case, it's entirely relevant. Something is so fishy, as we know.
Yeah, and the connection is just too strong to ignore at this point. 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. Doubt.
Yes, massive doubt.
I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
The thing is that Edgeworth knows that we probably have evidence, and so he's setting us up to hit the ball. So I believe that we want to prod her on, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant.
Uh-huh. Because, Emma, my dear, I believe you have. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim.
Him or?
So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
No, we want to ask about that picture, thank you.
This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost.
Well, I think we have an evidence list, don't you?
Aha. A picture is drawn on the back of the evidence list in magic marker. I've got a very bad feeling about this.
Yes, so let us present it.
Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SR9 incident? Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew! Picture? Indeed. 2 men appear to be wrestling here. But what I don't see is the fatal stabbing.
Yes, I also don't see an accurate way of identifying either person.
Huh. These lists, they're different from each other.
They are indeed.
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you.
Mm-hmm.
What? What?
I mean, he did a spectacular job considering he only had half the evidence, but obviously that did lead to a little bit of a mistrial.
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
That is very true.
Yes, that's quite conceivable. Mr. Edgeworth? It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing.
It's the blue badger!
That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture.
Yes, and I think we can do a little bit of extra digging into this.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were their shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
The thing is, there's a problem with that.
Yeah, thanks to that though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Ah, there's your problem.
Yep, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Emma's picture.
When she's saying this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant, I think we need to get that autopsy report out.
Alrighty. Present.
Yes, indeedy, because he was stabbed in the back. But she said he was stabbed in the chest.
Yep. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I remember it just like it was yesterday. You remember something, but sadly it's not the truth.
She remembers that image, but there's a slight error with it. Oh, major error.
What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Well, it's the tip of the weapon, because the autopsy report states that the tip of the knife was embedded in Neil Marshall.
True.
But that knife doesn't have a tip.
Even I don't have to look closer to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
Yeah, but why would she draw it as a flat thing if it had already gone in and broken off?
Yep, and where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Then why would the tip be inside of it?
Yeah, sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. Also phrasing. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
Well, I don't believe that either, because, you know, these things are, like, 100% drilled into her brain.
Yeah, I believe you were annoyed at the time, yes. But she was sure she remembered correctly. But There's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility.
Mm-hmm.
No. Ah! Or forged. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon.
Exactly.
There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Well, funnily enough, quite strong.
Yes. Could there have been one?
There is another one. And we know where it is.
If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon.
It's in the Gant team picture.
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife.
It is indeed.
As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed.
That is true.
What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here?
Well, what that then suggests is that what Emma saw was not actually the moment of murder.
Yeah. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture, I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. I mean, that would make sense, otherwise how would she have access to it?
Well, exactly.
All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Then why don't you have black locks? Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honour. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. For the pedants in the audience, I know he doesn't have the Magatama yet. When I saw the man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Okay. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The Chief of Detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. Well, there's a typo.
Typo. They did a very good job of getting rid of a bunch of them, but there's still some there.
Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further! Lana! What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back.
It is indeed, and while I don't think we're going to necessarily like where this leads, it's going to help us get to the truth, and that's what's important.
It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Emma's recollection.
When she mentioned she saw the blue badger, yeah, that's not possible. But we do have something that could be the blue badger. The unstable jar.
The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. A joke for you, Richie.
Uh-huh.
When is a door not a door?
When it's a jar.
But tish, thank you. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from.
So, yes, get to rotating, Tom.
Alright. Okay.
Right, I'll get me picked up to make sure that we are presenting this right. Basically, the base of the thing. Yes, just keep going a little bit more. There you go. I think that's probably about where we want it to be.
This isn't right. I've got to make it look more like the badger.
Oh, for God's sake.
Allow me to remind the defence its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. I've got to find just the right angle.
For God's sake.
Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more, or horizontally? Come on, Mr. Wright, you can do it. I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from.
Right, okay, so, yes, rotate it that way, rotate it down. Yes, okay, rotate it to the... Basically, you want to try and get it so that the ears are a bit more horizontal, and the thing is pointing sort of straight down. Try that.
This?
There. Give it a go. There we go.
Well, is this a miracle or what? I'm glad we got that on the second try. Secondly, I'm glad that's not penalised.
Yeah, because, my god.
Yeah, no one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No. It can't bear.
But it is.
Order! Order! Yeah, that's one of the least intuitive puzzles of this game, I would say.
Yeah, because the problem is that you can get it so you're just like, yes, no, I know exactly where it is, but it's just not quite right.
Yeah, not Phoenix right enough. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, that changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar?
The location.
Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually happened, or transpired even. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office.
I mean, they're the same freaking office, but go on.
From Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office. Yes. There's no reason to do that. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty, but also I don't think that it's quite going to be what everyone's going to assume it means.
She said she knocked the man away who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this.
Well, you're gonna have to, Nick.
Yep. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Yeah, it would mean that Emma is the one who killed him.
Yep. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No!
The thing is that I don't quite 100% believe that.
Like, maybe she pushed him away a little bit, but directly across the room.
Well, it wasn't across the room, it would have been right next to it, but even then...
Sorry, I forgot the facts, Your Honour.
Yes, but even then I don't think that she's quite strong enough to do that.
Oh, because she's female? No, because she's like 14. Hang on. 16.
Yeah, so she was 14 at the time.
Yes. Oh, I was right. How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have to present proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence.
Well, annoyingly, we do have the evidence.
I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. Cough. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Humph. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another.
Yes.
That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name the victim may have left behind
is in the evidence.
This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer?
It's not that we're doing that, we're just trying to get to the truth.
Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
It is, of course, the unstable jar.
This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No!
I mean, part of me wonders why we don't use luminol here, but, still, join the dots is always fun.
I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name.
So, you know what to do, Tom, don't you?
Sort of.
You need to join top dot there to top left. Then all the way down. Then that one goes to the one just to the right there, yeah. Then that one goes to the one just above it, and that goes to the rest of... No, not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. There's the M squiggle.
Ah, I see.
You're making an M, and then you're making an A.
That would have tripped me up, honestly.
And there it is. Yes, we're good.
It's the defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Christ. Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was connected, or convicted even, because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Ach! Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. Not the point, though, is it?
No, and if we've not got the evidence to prove that he was a serial murderer, then yeah, it's kind of a problem.
We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! Order!
I mean, why no one has, brought up the fact that the evidence list was, torn in half, and Edgeworth only got half the evidence, kind of suggests that there was a bit of a problem.
Uh-huh. Oh, we're not breaking, chat. We're going all the way to the end in this part.
Well, maybe not quite, but close enough.
Recording-wise, maybe not. LP-wise, maybe. February 25th, 12:06, District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Huh, don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. I have timing very similar to Gumshoe. I always bother my mum by saying hello right at the end of a show she's watching.
Oh, yeah, no. I have to say, I used to end up doing that quite a lot to my parents. If I'd go down to, take Milo out into the garden or say the night, and it was 5 minutes before the end of the show.
It's because it's coming up on the hour mark. It feels right, damn it, I'm not in the wrong. I'm not annoying, I swear. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was just talking about this the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. I guess I need this book.
Yes.
The Chief Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the Chief Prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in the prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. And Miss Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You mean kidding? You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely struck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. February 25th, 1252, District Court, Courtroom number 9. Glad to see you've all calmed down. Now we can have a bit more of a trial. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honour? The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honour. Yes, well, ahem. Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, ahem, cough, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honour. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement.
But also, this is an unusual situation.
It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer.
It is, of course, Damon Gant. God, could you imagine if it was just like, the defense calls Officer Meekins?
Oh my god, it was me all along. What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honour? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Twiddle. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish.
I mean, Nick is very much both.
Yes, but... he's a combination. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The Chief of Police has the right to refuse to testify.
Technically, anyone has the right to refuse to testify. It's just that sometimes that can lead to certain suspicions falling onto people.
Uh-huh. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Well, we know that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because the final piece of the unstable jar was in his safe.
Uh-huh. Also, if Lana was the one who rearranged the crime scene, why would she write her sister's name and implicate her?
Well, no, but obviously the whole thing is that Neil wrote it before he died, so she would have been the one to wipe it off.
Right.
If it was as Damon Gant is saying, but as I think we all know at this point, that's certainly not what's frickin' happened.
You see, I was using end-time logic there.
Yeah, you need to use Ace Attorney logic.
I need to use actual logic, yes.
So yes, so, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Present the unstable jar.
You got it, mate. Yeah, laugh and clap all you want, mate. Because I'm about to clap these cheeks. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Yeah, because why would they be there if he hadn't?
It's circumstantial, but it's enough to be going on with. Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. It's like I'm seeing the future.
I know, and I mean, he's not necessarily wrong in this assessment, but yes, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation, so...
Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know when or how to put two and two together, even. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Just another bully throwing his weight around.
Yes.
Which is funny, because I've been rewatching House, and that exact same thing is happening in House, but with a police officer instead.
I think when he says rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way, I believe we need to prod that.
You got it, mate.
Yes, hold it.
Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Exactly.
The resolution of the SO9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! No, it's a Gant, thank you. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Hold it.
Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Miserable existence.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. That's a good one, Worthy. Huh. Could there have been something in it for him?
Of course.
Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out?
We're going to point out an accomplice.
There is someone he could manipulate and get something out of it. But if it would benefit you, you might have decided to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean.
No, I mean, it's one way of presenting it, but, no.
Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence?
Lana Skye?
Of course. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use chief prosecutor as his puppet.
Good old blackmail.
Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that, despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets?
Oh, the judge is a fool.
You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
Exactly.
What? I said order! Mr. Wright, you You can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency.
Oh, don't worry, we're gonna tackle people much bigger than Damon Gant later on in Nick's career.
Your Honour, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier-to-understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, his current career as a prosecutor is looking very, very, very unlikely he's going to get punished, and how's he going to come back from that? Obviously he will, because it's Edgeworth, but still.
Fuck it, YOLO. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman.
Well, it's ID card record, because it has his ID card number on it, and it's the only one before the lost note, so...
This one?
Yes, that one indeed.
This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. That one. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number.
Yeah, it's the code to your safe.
How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honour. The code was 777-7777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now the court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room? On the day of the crime? What about it? I'm Chief of Police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
Mm-hmm.
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us the proof the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
Well, Goodman's lost item report, obviously. As soon as you can find it in this ridiculous heap of...
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to have given that report to the Chief of Police.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you are in possession of the report. Which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Yeah, and there's no other way that the locker could have been opened.
Is that what you're saying? Exactly. Yes. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. That's very easy to disprove. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman...
It would have been on him.
No! How shocking.
I know. The first proper break we've had with Chief Gant.
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office late after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Well, you know, there is another solution which Nick will get to, is that obviously it was Edgeworth's car, and Edgeworth happened to be at the police department to get an award, and then drove back to the prosecutor's office.
Oh boy.
Ooh, I believe it says the screwdriver.
Ah, yes, there it is. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime.
And yes, here we go. Nick is about to lay down what I just highlighted.
Ah! I was asked to go, by Chief Gant no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean I... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Yep, Edgeworth unknowingly moved the body.
It was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case?
Exactly, it makes no sense.
There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. What's going on here? Is there no room for a rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe. Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this?
Of course he is.
He's a coward. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of the body? Do I have any concrete proof?
We have no proof yet, sadly. We will get some, but there's no point in showing anything that we don't actually have.
No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Udgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalise you for your allegations against the Chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Wow!
Oh, thank God for you, Edgeworth.
Lady Luckham, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honour of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Oh. Why are you asking me, Your Honour? Have you forgotten? The defence is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honour. The defence calls forth...
Lana Skye.
The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honour. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet.
What a monster.
What a bloody arsehole. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. February 25th, 2:04 PM, District Court Defendant Lobby, number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else there, pals. Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore.
Oh, poor Gumshoe.
Sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knot girl you used to work with.
I mean, to be fair, having Gumshoe on our side as an investigator isn't going to be the worst thing in the world.
Nope. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean, he forfeits his right to say anything too?
Exactly.
Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I'd been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all, just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
Well, exactly. You sort of shut off everyone around you. It's a lot easier to be able to exist and keep moving forward.
Yep. She must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
I'm just realising now that what Lana effectively does is she does an Elsa to Emma's Anna.
Wish she didn't describe it like that, but I cannot disagree either. Also, murder is premeditated. This would be manslaughter.
Yes, I agree.
But murder is a much more highly charged term to use in court.
Exactly. And also, we're going to prove that Damon Gant was behind at least one of the murders. I'm pretty sure he might have been behind both of them, if you ask me.
I don't know what would make you think that. Maybe some sort of prophecy. I guess we'll have to wait and see for the rest of this trial. Alright. The final save of the HFC playthrough of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And we're golden. February 25th, 2:21 PM, District Court, Courtroom number 9. That was a long break.
Yes, rubble.
Will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? It's me. Miss Lana Skye, you are the Chief Prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Yeah, that's just how genetics works. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. This is it, Luigi.
It is indeed, Mario.
I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime area. My only motivation was to get Dart convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Well, we know that's all rubbish, but
Your Honour.
I'm going to have to start doing a bit of pressing into this, I feel.
Of course I'm sure. But Lana! If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself.
Always believe in your clients is one of Nick's mottos.
Gant and the fabrication.
So yeah, fine. 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 Hold it.
You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon?
Exactly.
Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body.
Hold it.
You planted the tip of Dark's knife into the victim's wound, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others.
Why did you move the body?
When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Skye moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan.
Well, let's present the jar on that, because it doesn't quite make sense unless, you know, she saw the jar.
Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime, quote-unquote, 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies.
Mm-hmm.
In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Ah. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony.
I do like how this case really does feel like Nick and Edgeworth working together to get to the end.
Yeah.
It's a nice, satisfying conclusion to everything.
And it's kind of a tradition that continues throughout the series, where there's like the prosecution and the defense working together to unravel the truth, the mystery, and, you know, the truth behind the mystery.
One of the things that I think makes, obviously, the majority of the prosecutors throughout the series so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because the whole ideal of the franchise is the pursuit of truth and justice.
Yeah.
And just because the prosecutors are on the opposing side, it doesn't mean that they are villains. Apart from when they are, obviously. But
Yeah.
those are specific cases.
Jar and message in blood.
Yes, so the bit that we want is the fragments were large, so I suppose I'm sure I got them all. Because we know that that's not true. So let's get out that unstable jar again, because, yeah, we 100% know that's not true, Lana, at all.
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blurred on it. But the witness was just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene.
Exactly.
Chief Gant got there before you.
Which, I mean, is kind of inevitable. He was also in the interview room with Marshall and Joe Dark. So...
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that?
Yes I can, Judge.
Have you forgotten, Your Honour? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years?
Exactly.
Well, Your Honour, can you answer us that? No!
Judge breakdown, yes.
Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet.
Exactamo.
Ugh. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
I mean, some do, but not Nick.
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe Wright after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may now testify once more for the final time. actual crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armour's sword.
It's more of a spear, but sure.
Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
Ooh.
What, to me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture, quote-unquote. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
Yes, let's check that book of evidence law. And if we examine the back cover...
Ooh.
There it is.
Hey! There's a picture here! Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Well, alrighty then. Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe?
Yes.
What's this? This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whose ever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
Well, no, not quite, because they're yours. However, it does prove that Emma is innocent, because if you look at the rest of Marshall's vest, it's covered in blood. If that had happened, if Emma's push had caused the death, then that would be it.
Yep.
Because the blood would have covered the handprint.
Would I ever... Oh!
Yes, we don't quite get a proper cross-examination.
This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
Exactly.
This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck.
Oh, the satisfaction that Edgeworth is getting out of this.
Gah. Ah, so what? You think I'm worried?
A little bit. The and the breaking face suggests otherwise.
What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
It's a bit tight, isn't it?
I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall?
We cannot show the evidence.
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe! I know you took what was inside!
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why didn't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence.
Yes, which is not a great look.
This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
I think we're going to have one slightly bigger coming up shortly.
To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean, you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Skye. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
Exactly.
Ho ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have showed it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine.
We can show evidence. And it is going to be that piece of cloth.
Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let's do it. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. That handprint on the lever. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Yes, but it's only conclusive evidence that Emma pushed him. But it's also conclusive evidence that he didn't land on the spear from that push.
Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know too? You know whose fingerprints are on that? But Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is...
It's Emma. But as we've said, we've got ways around this.
What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh ho ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposefully concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offence. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one more little thing I have to clear up. Oh? And what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What?
I do love that Nick basically turned Chief Gant's horrifically long pauses against him and just sort of sat and waited and just let him rant and rave to then be able to go, and bow.
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
What was Lana's photo?
This one?
Yes, because the cloth would be covered in blood if it had happened when he was murdered. Because look at all that blood.
See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait. There's no blood on it.
Exactly.
Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
Which, I mean, you know, assault, but not important right now.
Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the arm of his sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over.
Not quite, we've got 3 more actions to go, but...
Oh ho 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 ho, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean, you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair! Hoo-hoo-hoo! Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
I did not.
I admit, I refused to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't?
It's that it was illegal to begin with, and then a certain chief of police made it legal.
He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Well, let's have a look at that evidence law.
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
And so, you are hoisted by your own petard.
Just like all criminals in the end. That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. And he's right, with a W. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth.
In court, for everyone to see.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realise my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body.
Also, to be fair, he doesn't really like you, so...
Yes, you make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Grr. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how? How could you get Miss Skye involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer.
I mean, he did a very good job of hiding a hell of a lot of shite.
They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Thankfully, he'll never have to go it alone.
Because we will always be there to support him.
Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
He says, and then unfortunately, you know, we have a couple of games, and then we go to the dark age of the law.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Skye, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Skye. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
But we did get her off the murder charge, so, you know.
What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Skye. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Oof, it was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye. Yes, Your Honor? You are innocent of murder. However, although the Chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already.
You're telling me. Bloody hell.
Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty.
Woo!
Now, never do a case this long again. That is all. This court is adjourned. We did it, Rich.
We did indeed, and I celebrated so much I woke Milo up. Oh well.
At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
Exactly.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
I mean, you were, but it's probably the right time to be interrupting us, to be fair.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Ah.
Yeah.
Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought that I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Well, I mean, so sometimes, you know, deceiving those you love for the right reasons can be the right thing to do. It is very dependent on what it is you're lying about and the reasons for it.
I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. Hugs.
Aww.
No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on to a brighter future.
Indeed.
At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here.
Oh, what a scowl.
I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth? Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Now, we both know that's a whole load of rubbish, but, I mean, hey, have a break, have a Kit Kat, you'll be fine.
But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise could have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this? A pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, sir? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own.
The evidence list.
Of course. You ready, Rich?
I am indeed.
Let's bring it home. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. What am I, chopped liver?
I know.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem, because you're not in the spin-off.
Yes, that is very true. But, yes, Edgeworth will be back.
It's like a fucking MCU stinger. Edgeworth will return in Ace Attorney Investigations. Oh look, it's the Fantastic Four shuttle in the sky! Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, Detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the Chief Prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought that you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes.
Oh, shoo.
Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, Detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who will be footing the bill. What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Alright, folks, I've been Anton64.
And I've been Richie.
This has been the HFC playthrough of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. If you want more, let us know in the comments, but either way, we will return next year with the second in the Ace Attorney series, Justice for All. So until then, bye for now.